So I'm doing a review for Above Snakes. I completed 100 days of this on my 100 days channel. Go and check it out. And you might have seen already some guides from me when it came out a couple of weeks ago. So that's what I'm doing. Every time I do 100 days now, I'm going to use that footage to hopefully give you a rundown of what I thought since I spent so much time. I've spent 20 hours in this isometric Wild West inspired adventure RPG with some light survival mechanics. What do I actually think about it? It's a cool little game. It's not a hardcore survival game by any means. Light definitely means light. It's pretty hard not to survive. So that's probably the biggest feedback loop I can give the devs, getting out everything out of the way. Add some different game modes to the game. Make it a little bit more difficult. Make the zombies that can come and appear at night time and that you find in certain tiles, make them a bit more difficult. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the basics of the game. What are you actually doing? Well, you're crafting and surviving, gathering resources, chopping down trees, harvesting ores from stone to get metals and things, to then get access to new crafting benches, unlock new gear and build yourself some cozy base action. The big loop of the game is unlocking new tiles. Each tile that you unlock will give you a chance to place it in whatever configuration that you want, as long as they kind of join up a little bit. So there can be some strategy involved, but the idea is it's almost endless. You can place loads and loads of tiles. I think I ended up placing like 105 or unlocking that many as well. They'll give you access to new biomes and then of course new resources to help you progress and get better upgrades. It is a cozy style game. Like I said, there is some danger elements. You do have zombies that you'll encounter, maybe some wildlife like wolves and polar bears and stuff, but otherwise it's not particularly hard to avoid it. So that is definitely something I want to see improved or added in future. The game dev seems really keen to take on board feedback. When it first launched, it did have a number of little bugs that were kind of annoying and it did gain some negative reviews because of it, but they turned the mixed reception to a mostly positive in just a couple of weeks with some quick updates, and they've got plans to keep on going. This was a Kickstarter funded game and then it came out as a fully fledged game, so not early access. So it's good to see the developer committed to adding more and improving on it. So you get this little dopamine fix. It's a great animation when you unlock one of these tiles and then place it down, and that's what you're looking to do. You can have 3 tiles max before you have to place one before gaining more experience to unlock a new one to place. So you can't really just perpetually stock up 100 tiles. You do have to make commitments to placing some, but you can destroy tiles if you find that you don't have any use for that biome as much anymore. And everything you do pretty much contributes to unlocking these tiles, gaining experience for harvesting resources, gathering and looting and crafting items. You'll come across NPCs and there's a nice, fairly easy story to follow with little vignettes and stuff, traders that you can sell goods to, and eventually go through to find out the resolution to the story, which is what has happened to your mother and what has caused all of these cowboys and others to turn into zombies. In my 100 days, I did have a few of the bugs that made things a bit longer, but I didn't really mind as I got through. I didn't actually resolve the curing part of it and whether the solution is going to be there, but I did find out what happened to my mother. So no spoilers there. Go and check out the actual 100 days full video I did. If you don't know, I've got a separate third channel now for live streams and 100 days full video, so go and check it out. So I do like it. It is that idle almost gameplay where you're just clicking on stuff. It's not a complicated game either. You've got like a dodge mechanic if you really want it. You upgrade and get access to certain weapons later on in the game, much later. Like you'll have bows to start with pretty easily and melee weapons like axes, but then eventually you will get access to guns. Really, the heart of this game is about unlocking them tiles, getting maybe the perfect combination ready, or just making a pretty map and then building on it. You can build your bases absolutely anywhere as long as you're willing to redo certain things so you get the cozy buffs that you get from placing a lot of the stuff down. As you progress, you'll unlock new perks for having your base leveled up to a certain level, and new resources will help you craft new stations to unlock to then refine and do more. There's fishing in the game, and I would say that's probably the next thing. Make maybe more events and maybe style mini games that you can do. You do come across a lot of NPCs, but it'd be cool if there was some sort of smaller things to do. Like you can set up your own firing range by having a test dummy. Maybe that can be incorporated into a mini game, meeting a certain NPC and stuff. But for what is there, I do think it's a decent little game. I probably would say it does need a little bit more though. It definitely needs a bit more dynamicism in terms of maybe enemies and stuff. But is that taking away from what it's really designed and who it's marketed at if you're adding more dangers? That's why I really do think it needs some extra game modes. Just make it a choice. Make the zombies harder, that they hit harder, that you have to survive more, the food and water will go down a lot quicker, etc. Give players that option, and maybe add a creative mode for players that do just want to mess around and do a lot of building and build a cozy isometric base. The art and the animation's really cool. I do like the art style as well. There's some really nice environmental effects when you go into some of these tiles and biomes. As you get on, you do find a bit more verticality that you'll come across, canyons and hills and stuff. But it would be nice if there were more tiles with more unique stuff going on as well. So not just mini games, but actual events where you'll face different creatures, or there may be some certain topography. You get a mixture of like forest, and then you get watering holes and stuff. Hopefully there'll be more variation. What you end up doing is you'll have like a full forest tile, then you'll have half a forest tile mixed with half a glade, and then later on it'll be like prairie, half farmlands, or 3 sides are going to be farmlands and 1 will be prairie. And that's how you kind of build it in and connect it all together. It did feel like some of the biomes you didn't really have to spend too much time in them, other than just getting that one kind of item from them for that stage, and then you probably won't have to return to it much later. Also, farming's been added where you got crop plots and stuff, and that's really good, obviously, to stop you having to traverse halfway across the map, although you do unlock fast travel points. So it would be nice if there can be evolving quests that make you go back maybe to get extra resources, or certain quests given to you from maybe traders once you've done the full story that give you a bit more incentive to go back to some of these or keep some of these tiles up and running. The idea is that you would have to go back for these to get certain resources, but some of the resources you really won't be needing much of once you've gained some of it. And yeah, just a bit more variety in the wildlife. You have wolves attack you, you have some zombies, and the zombies that can attack you, there's variations, some that spit on you, some that will blow up with dynamite taped to their back. Then you've got skeleton cowboys, and I do believe there is some sort of mini boss or boss that you'll have to face. Again, I just didn't get that far, I guess, because I was actually quite enjoying just unlocking tiles and placing them around and taking my time a little bit with it. There is a fair amount of crafting, so it could do some quality of life stuff like being able to craft anywhere when you're in the vicinity of any of your crafting stations, rather than tediously having to go into each one. That mechanic from Grounded has kind of spoilt me a little bit, and I do like a lot of the build pieces, but they could probably be improved and added a little bit more versatility in some of them to make them just stand out a bit more. You can eventually get yourself a little pet doggo, and yes, you can pet the dog once you've got it. All in all, if you like crafty, cozy games, especially top-down ones like this, definitely get it. It's got some comparisons to Lens Island, but I really like this compared to Lens Island because of the way that you can change and tailor the map to your liking. It just needs a little bit of extra replayability, like some events and stuff, to be added to it to make it worthwhile playing once you've done the main story or completed it once. Don't buy it if you're expecting something like Project Zomboid or maybe Dismantle. It definitely doesn't have that kind of difficulty or learning, steps with it. This game was pretty much made by a tiny little studio of like 1 or 2 people. As I said, it was a Kickstarter project which I backed, and I'm proud to say that I think you should buy this game if you like these type of games. If you're more of a hardcore survival fan and you just want something to chill with a little bit, I definitely recommend it. Value and games is something that can trigger a lot of people, and I totally respect that a lot of indie games are kind of undersold compared to the AAA market and how much we get charged for something compared to how many hours you get out of it. As we know though, just because your game's long doesn't really equate to a good experience or being charged that much. Right now, Above Snakes did have 2 weeks of like a reduced price. It's now £21, so about $25. I think that's slightly on the kind of expensive side for what the game offers, but only just. Like, you're not going to get hundreds of hours of gameplay out of this unless you really, really love it and love the building aspect. So for fans of this type of game and this type of genre, yes, it'll probably be worth it to you. For more casual fans that are looking to try something a bit more relaxing, then I would say probably you're going to wait and see what updates may be added and see if they add some more to make it a little bit more varied in terms of replayability as well. I obviously got 20 hours out of it and I hadn't actually managed to fully finish the game, so it was value enough in terms of long, but like I said, quality is important as well. There is quality here. The game's made really well. I didn't encounter too many bugs, like I said, only a few issues with just progression in the early days, and that was quickly fixed, but no crashes or anything like that. I think probably they would have benefited from going into early access. There can be the stigma of being an early access title, but it would have given them a little bit more leeway and people may have given them a bit more kind reviews. Right now it's sitting at 75%, which is still a great little score. But by doing that, they could have probably sold it a bit cheaper and drummed up even more interest in it. But it seems to have done well, and I wish that there was luck in getting more updates. If they add more content to it, I'll certainly cover it again. And there we go. See my full adventure on my JPG 100 Days channel. The link will be in the comment section down below. And I'll see you rat bags for more reviews like this in the future going forward. Bye bye.